Hello all, myself Manisha Desai. I am the lecturer in the Physics Department of College Arihant Arts, Commerce and Science, Bavdhan, Pune. Up till now, in the last videos, we have seen special purpose diodes such as photodiode, Zener diode, LEDs, etc. Now we are going for the next part, which is bipolar junction transistor. Transistor is made up of diodes. And how it is made, what is the working of this transistor, why it is called as a bipolar, and what are its types, we are going in detail in this video. So let's start. Bipolar junction transistor can also be called as the BJT, that is bipolar junction transistor. A junction transistor is a semiconductor device having bi means two, so it has two junctions and three terminals. The current in a transistor is carried by both the electrons and the holes, hence it is also called as the bipolar junction transistor, because carriers may be electrons or may be holes depending on the majority carriers. A transistor has three doped regions which form a structure with two back p-n junctions. This transistor contains two p and n junctions connected back to back. So depending on that, there are two types of transistor called as the NPN transistor and PNP transistor. Here in case of NPN transistor, P is doped in between two N type semiconductors, and in PNP, N is doped in between two P type junctions. If you see the symbol of this NPN and PNP transistor, in the NPN you can see there are three ends or three terminals called as the emitter, base and collector. And in PNP transistor also it has three ends, emitter, base and then collector. You can see the structure. In NPN transistor, emitter end is the N, middle one is the P, and then here it is the N, that is the collector end. In case of PNP transistor, first P is the positive and connected as the emitter, N is the base and P is the collector side. If you see the doping of these two N's are largely dense than that of the base. In case of PNP, two P's are more dense than the base N type. Thus in the circuit symbol, emitter has an arrow either pointing inward or outward. Depending on that, transistors are classified as the NPN or PNP. Means suppose emitter arrow is coming inward, then it is called as the NPN transistor, and if the arrow is going outward, then it is called as the PNP transistor. So in a NPN transistor, a p-type semiconductor or base layer separates two layers of the n-type semiconductor, which are called as the emitter and collector, like this. This is emitter, this is collector. This base separates these two. How it is obtained? It is obtained by growing this thin layer of p-type semiconductor in between two relatively thick layers of these n-type semiconductors. Same way for a PNP transistor, N-type semiconductor or base layer, it separates two layers of this P-type semiconductor, which are emitter and collector. And how it is obtained? It is obtained by growing a thin layer of N-type semiconductor in between two relatively thick P-type semiconductors. The three layers of this transistor are emitter, base and collector. Physically, transistor looks like this. This end has one notch and it has three leads. This is the circular path or dome shaped. See which is the emitter, which is the base and which is the collector. If that flat end is towards you, then first pin, that is 1, it is called as the emitter. Second one is the base and third one is the collector. So this transistor has three ends, emitter, base and collector. Then how to consider, means how to recognize this is the NPN or this is the PNP transistor. For that case, suppose you have used the multimeter, then first of all check this PN junction diode. If it is forward biased, when you have connected P means positive end to the second point and negative end to the first point, which means that, and current is flowing, which means that this is in the forward bias. And same case is happening here, means middle red probe is connected to this 2 type and the black probe is connected to here and current is flowing, means multimeter is showing something reading. In that case again this one is the positive end. So if the middle one is P, then remaining two are N. So this transistor is NPN. In the opposite case, for finding PNP transistor, suppose you have connected your red probe of the multimeter here, which is the positive, and black probe here, and in this PN junction current is flowing, then this is your P side, this is your N side. Same is happening here, means if you have connected P to the third terminal and black to the second terminal and current is flowing, which means that again this is forward bias by considering third is the P and second is the N. So this transistor is PNP transistor. Likewise, you can recognize any transistor whether it is PNP or NPN by using the multimeter and checking the current flowing through it. We have seen this symbol in this structure that this is the base. If current direction is inward, it is NPN transistor. If it is if you can see here, emitter is like this, collector is coming here, base is coming here, then this is NPN, and in that case emitter is going outward, collector is going here, and base is coming here, otherwise then it is PNP transistor. A transistor can be thought to be two junction diodes connected back to back. In case of emitter, it is a thick, heavily doped layer. This supplies a large number of majority carriers for the current flow through the transistor. This is the main function of this emitter end, that it has to provide majority carriers for current flowing. Now this majority carriers depends on which type of transistor you are using. Means suppose you are using NPN transistor, then it supplies holes to its junction, and for PNP transistor it supplies electrons to its junctions for conduction. The next terminal is the base. It is thin and lightly doped central layer. And the third is the collector. What does it do? It is on the other side of the base and it is also thick and moderately doped layer. Its area is larger than that of the emitter and the base. Why? Because this layer has to collect major portion of the majority carriers supplied by the emitter. Means whichever are the carriers giving this emitter end, that should be maximum collected by collector point, and remaining means very low majority carrier should go through the base, so that we should get maximum at the output level. The collector also helps dissipation of any small amount of heat generated. This is the second function of it, and it is always in reverse biased with respect to the base. For NPN, collector receives holes to its junction. Why? Because NPN, in case of NPN, emitter supplies holes, and that holes are collected by this collector. For PNP transistor, emitter supplies electrons, and that electron should be maximum collected by the collector of this PNP transistor. Thus, there are the three ends: emitter, base, collector, which is the main point, that emitter gives carriers, means it supplies the carriers depending on the PNP and NPN. In NPN it supplies holes, in PNP it supplies electrons. Base, this is one of the middle junction, it is very thin and lightly doped. Collector receives maximum majority carriers supplied by this emitter, so that it should give the output. And what is this two-diode analogy? That it has the depletion layer or depletion region. This is formed at the emitter base junction and also at the base to collector junction. Means because of the movement of these majority carriers, it may be electrons or it may be holes from any two junctions, there are formation of the depletion regions, means ion formation. What is the current? The currents are of three types again. The emitter current IE, which is flowing through the emitter point, the base current IB, base station with current is flowing, and the collector current IC, the current which is flowing through the collector of that transistor. Then what is resistance? The emitter base junction has very low resistance, while the base to collector junction has a high resistance. There are two PN junctions in a transistor. We have seen that there is the emitter to base junction and collector to base junction, as it has three ends, and they can be biased in different ways. This also we have seen that base is biased very low than that of the emitter and collector. But in most of the common method of biasing transistor, emitter base junction is forward biased and the collector base junction is reverse biased, so that we should get maximum output. After seeing this, we will once again remind the main important factors of this BJT. That transistor has three regions named emitter, base and collector. The base is much thinner than other regions. Emitter is heavily doped, so it can eject large amount of carriers into the base. Base is lightly doped, so it can pass most of the carriers to the collector. This is the main reason why base is lightly doped. Because of this, very few majority carriers are deposited into the base and the remaining carriers are directly passed away to the collector, so that collector output should be maximum. Collector is moderately doped. The junction between emitter and base is called as the emitter base junction, or it is also called as the emitter diode. And the junction between base and collector is called as the collector base junction, also called as the collector diode. The emitter diode is forward biased and the collector diode is reverse biased. The resistance of emitter diode is very small and the resistance of collector is high. Now we will go for the working of NPN transistor first of all. See this diagram, this is the NPN transistor. We have connected external supply here, that is supply between VEB, that is emitter and base, and VCB, that is collector and base. Forward bias is applied to this emitter base junction because this N is given as the negative supply of VEB and positive is given to the P, hence it is forward bias. And here it is reverse bias given because N is connected to positive of this supply and P is connected to negative of the supply, hence it is reverse bias, and this emitter base junction is forward bias. At the instant the forward bias is applied to the emitter base junction, electrons in the emitter region have not entered into the base region. Means initially when you apply the forward bias to the emitter base junction, directly electrons do not pass. Means this condition is happening. Electrons are present only in this N-type semiconductor. But when the biasing voltage, that is whatever voltage you are applying here, VEB, is greater than the barrier potential, that is 0.6 or 0.7 volt for silicon, many electrons enter into the base region. Means this electron pass into this base region. Now these electrons can flow through the base circuit and constitute base current IB. Now these electrons form the base current IB. Or they can also flow through the collector circuit, or many of the remaining electrons go to the collector side and forms the collector current IC. Likewise it gives current IB and current IC because of the passage of this electron from the emitter to the base and remaining electron to the collector. You can see here also this diagram is representing the same, that electrons are coming from this is going into the N-type semiconductor, then it is going to this base. From the base, some of the electrons are going here and current is flowing as IB, and remaining electrons are going into the collector and forming the current IC. Now the electrons injected from the emitter into the base diffuse into the collector base depletion region due to the thin base region. And when the electrons enter the collector base depletion region, they are pushed into the collector region by the electric field at the collector base depletion region, and hence collector current IC flows through the circuit. Now majority of the electrons injected by the emitter into the base are thus collected by the collector and flow through the collector circuit, and from this we can give the equation as a IE is equal to IB plus IC. But since base current is very small, we can consider IC, that is output current, collector current, is nearly equal to the emitter current IE. Now similarly, if you see the working of the PNP transistor, in case of PNP transistor, P is connected to this positive supply, means it is again forward biased. Here P is connected to negative supply, means it is reverse biased. Means emitter to base junction is forward biased and base to collector junction is reverse biased. The forward bias in the emitter base junction causes holes to move towards the base and this constitutes the current IE. As these holes flow towards N-type base, they try to recombine with the electrons. But as the base is lightly doped, only few holes combine with the electrons within the base, and the recombined holes constitute small base current IB. And remaining whatever are the holes crosses this base and constitute the collector current IC. Means when holes are passing through this, some holes combine with the electrons of this base and form the base current IB, but remaining holes passes through the base to the collector and forms the collector current IC. You can see diagrammatically here, NPN transistor, it is shown outward arrow, NPN transistor shown inward arrow, and this is the structure. We already seen this. Now there are three operating modes of the transistor, that is active mode. In this case, base to emitter junction is forward biased and base to collector junction is reverse biased. Second one is the saturation mode. In this, base to emitter junction is forward and base to collector junction is also forward biased. And in cutoff mode, both the junctions are reverse biased. Now go for the next, that is transistor configurations. There are three configurations: common emitter CE, common base CB, and common collector CE. But most commonly common collector configuration is used, so we will see detailed common collector configuration. This is most commonly used. Here this is the transistor symbol: base, emitter and collector. Emitter is common, it is grounded, hence it is called as common emitter. This is base given input here, and this is the collector, output is taken from this. Here input signal is AC signal given in between the junction, base to emitter. Here input signal is applied between base and emitter, while the output is obtained between the collector and the emitter. The current flowing out of the transistor must be equal to the current flowing into the transistor, as the emitter current is given by IE is equal to whatever is the current through the IC plus IB. Means whatever input you are giving, that should be distributed between IC and IB. IB is small, hence maximum current should be through the IC. So equation is IE is equal to IC plus IB. We have seen this. As the load resistance RL is connected in series with the collector, the current gain of the common emitter transistor configuration is called current amplification factor, or beta DC. Now beta DC is equal to IC upon IB, means collector current upon base current, and alpha DC is equal to IC upon IE. That are the two factors, beta DC and alpha DC. Beta DC is IC upon IB and alpha DC is IC upon IE. You can see the currents here. This is the base current IB, this is the emitter current IE, this is the collector current IC. You can see also here that emitter current flowing through this is combination of this IC and the base current IB because of these two voltage sources. Now we will see the relation between alpha and beta. We have seen beta DC is equal to IC upon IB, alpha DC is equal to IC upon IE, and IE is equal to IC plus IB. We seen these three equations. From these three equations, IB is equal to this IE minus this IC, and we put this value here. In case of IB, replace this by IE minus IC. So equation will become beta DC is equal to IC upon IE minus IC. Divide each term by IE, so it is coming IC upon IE divided by IE upon IE minus IC upon IE. This term is 1 and IC upon IE is nothing but alpha. So beta DC is equal to alpha DC upon 1 minus alpha DC. This is the relation between alpha and bit. A small change in the base current IB will result in a much larger change in the collector current IC. Here also you can see. Thus, a small change in the current flowing in the base will control the current in the emitter collector circuit. Typically, the value of beta DC is between 20 and 200 for most of the general purpose transistor. So that we can change the output properties by changing the base current IB in case of transistor. Now we will see the characteristics of this transistor. Same circuit here they have used. IE is common emitter, base for measuring the current, micrometer is used here for IB current measurement. Here for measurement of IC, this meter is used. This is used for checking the IC current. Then VCE is used to check the voltage. VCC is applied voltage. VBE, you can check the voltage here, whichever you have applied. Now the input characteristic represent that the variation of the base current IB with the base emitter voltage VBE is called as the input characteristics. Means at the input side if you see, you have applied the voltage between base and emitter, and whatever voltage you are applying here, what is happening to this current, this is nothing but your input characteristics. Means at the input side only. Now initially the current is very small. Here you can see this is the graph between VCE and IB current. VBE and IB current. Initially when you are applied the voltage, current is constant. Initially current is very small till the barrier potential is overcome. After this IB increases rapidly with VBE. Means if you see the silicon diode, then after 0.7 volt, means whenever you are giving VBE up to 0.6 or 0.7 volt, current is remaining as it is, but after 0.6 or 0.7 volt it changes drastically. It is same as your forward characteristics of the diode. The input dynamic resistance, that is RI, is defined as the ratio of the change in the base to emitter voltage and the resulting change in the base current at a constant collector base voltage for VCE constant. Means whenever you are seeing this input characteristic, you must consider this VCE, that is output voltage, whichever you have applied between the collector and emitter should be constant. So input dynamic resistance, that is RI, which is equal to change in the input voltage VBE divided by change in the input current IB. You must remember this equation. Now same, if you see the output characteristics, means instead of this input side, go for this output side. Means variations in the collector current IC with variations in the collector to emitter voltage VCE is called as the output characteristics of a transistor. But in this case you must consider whatever is the base current IB should be constant. From this curve, these are again same. For measuring the current you can use your micrometer. For measuring voltage parallelly you can connect VBE. For measuring VCE you can connect VCE parallel to this, and this is the IC current measurement. Here also common emitter circuit is used. Characteristics while drawing, consider base current IB is constant and then draw the graph between VCE, that is output voltage, and collector current IC. If you see this curve, collector current IC is dependent on VCE as long as the collector emitter junction is reverse biased. You can see here this is increasing and then remaining it is constant. This is also increasing and remaining it is a constant voltage, constant current. From this curve, collector current IC is independent of VCE, means it is not depending on these voltage changes, but it is changing with respect to current IC only. Collector emitter junction is reverse bias. Also the collector current IC is large for large values of the base current IB, then VCE is constant. If you see 2 volt VCE, then this value of 10 microampere for suppose 1 milliampere of this output current, then for 2 milliampere it is 20 microampere. So likewise when IC is going on increasing, this current IC also goes on increasing. Thus the output dynamic resistance, that is R0 of a transistor, is defined as the ratio of change in the collector emitter voltage, that is VCE, to the change in the collector current IC when base current IB is constant. It is R0 is equal to delta VCE upon delta IC. Now last point is we can use transistor as an amplifier. Here also we have used common emitter circuit. Vin is the input supply. IB current is the base current. IC current is this collector current. IE is the emitter current. VC is used for biasing of this emitter to collector junction. VBE is used for biasing of this input side base to emitter. Now amplifier is what? It is a device which is used for increasing the amplitude of alternating signal. Alternating means AC signal. Now in this case we have applied this AC signal here input. A small sinusoidal input signal is superimposed on this DC bias. Means whatever is the biasing you have supplied, this is the DC. And on that you have applied here AC signal which is used as the input. The base current IB and the collector current IC will have this sinusoidal variation superimposed on them. Because of this, these currents are also getting changed. This causes the output voltage V0 also to change sinusoidally. Because of this input signal is sinusoidal, output is also sinusoidal, means it is imposed on this DC also. A capacitor is connected in the output circuit to block the DC component, this capacitor, so that we should get only the AC at the output side. And the load resistance RL is connected in the collector circuit and output is obtained across this load resistance RL. Now when this input signal Vi is not applied, considering the output loop from the Kirchhoff's law, here VCC is equal to VCE plus IC into RL. Means in this case here VCC, whatever is the output, is nothing but, if you see only this circuit, what is the potential difference here? IC into RL, and second potential difference is VCE. And according to the Kirchhoff's law, if you see the direction is out of the conventional current, so it is positive. So IC into RL plus voltage is from negative to positive, so it is VCE. So we are getting VCC is equal to VCE plus ICRL. And for the input loop, that is for VBB is equal to VBE plus IBRB. Here VBB, whatever is this input, is nothing but IB into RB. It is again, if you see from this loop, this is positive, and then VBE. It is VBE plus IBRB. When some AC signal is applied, V is non-zero. So what will be happening? VBE plus Vi, means when you are applying some input voltage, that should be added into this DC. So VBE plus Vi is equal to VBE plus IBRB plus delta IB, means change in the base current delta IB in bracket RB plus input dynamic resistance, that is Ri. We have to consider this term as an extra. But we know that Vi is equal to delta IB into RB plus Ri, which is nothing but delta IB into Ri, because this RB is very small. We can neglect this. We have considered this equation as this VBE as and we have crossed this. So remaining equation is Vi is equal to delta IB in case of RB plus Ri, and this can be neglected because RB is very small. Now changes in the base current causes changes in the collector current also. So we are getting IC current gain, that is beta AC. Now beta AC is what? Small IC divided by small IB, that is the AC current. The AC current gain beta AC is same as the DC current gain beta DC. The changes in the base current IB causes changes in the collector current IC also. This changes the voltage drop across the load resistance because VCC is constant. Hence delta VCC is equal to, at the output side, delta VCE plus RL into IC, which is again equal to 0. Hence we are getting delta VCE is equal to minus of IL into IC. The change in the output voltage VCE is the output voltage Vi. Hence Vi is equal to delta VCE. This change is happening because of this input, hence this can be equated, which is nothing but beta times AC, that is the amplification factor, into load resistance RL into whatever is the base current change, that is delta IB. We can consider all these terms, and by considering this we can find out the voltage gain. Voltage gain is the output upon input, so V naught upon Vi. V naught we can get delta VCE, and V in is equal to input dynamic resistance Ri into change in the input current, that is delta IB. So it is nothing but beta AC into RL divided by Ri if you put these values. The negative sign indicates that output voltage and the input voltage are out of phase. Here, this is a negative sign which indicates this output and input are out of phase. Power gain can be considered as amplification factor into voltage gain, that is AB. AP, that is amplification of power, which is nothing but beta times AC amplification factor into voltage gain A. This is all about the transistor. Thank you very much.